Vagga. Do you know the meaning of Papa? What is Papa in Pali language? Pardon? Unwholesome is very common. It's not the real meaning for this particular word. Bad karma also unwholesome. Mistake also unwholesome. So what is the meaning of Papa? Papa means that which influence us to fall down. We fall down when we violate one of these things. Therefore it is called Papa. Because we don't use the word sin in English. There are no sins in Buddhism. What is the definitions of sin? When we go against the will of God, against the commandment, against the law given by the God, then they say we commit sin. So we do not go against the commandment of God. The Buddha has not given any commandment, only advices. He did not create any religious law. He did not introduce any religious punishment in his teaching. Given advices. These advices we had to take for us to understand, not to take as a law. His way of teaching is like that. He tells us something to take into consideration. Think until we realize. Then we realize, yes, it is bad. It is not due to fear of God, fear of the Buddha, or fear of punishment, but by knowing that it is bad, it is harmful. And this is the Buddha's way of teaching. He never tried to introduce religious law. You must accept. These are the religious laws. Every word that he uttered, for us to think and consider and realize, then we know what to do. Enrich our knowledge and understanding. So all those activities, thoughts, words, action, activities which create to topple us, fall down, those things are regarded as Papa Kamma. Papa Kamma. And the positive side, Kusala Kamma. Kusala means skillful. Kamma, action. A skillful action. Papa Kamma, that people commit by using their low mentality, ignorance, then become Papa, low, and fall down. Small children always fall down because they have no strength, they do not know the technique, how to walk, always fall down. And small children have no deep thinking to understand. when they grow, they also develop their understanding. So, Papa Kamma and Kusala Kamma, negative and positive, good and bad. Papa Kamma create us to suffer. We fall down, get into unfortunate state of existence. Although we were born as human beings, still we are very low, very unfortunate, miserable. That is Papa. You can see when you survey the world, how many millions or billions of human beings are there who are belong to this group, Papa group. And Kusala Kamma, skillful action. The word Kusala, Kausalya in Sanskrit, Pali Kusala. Cleverness, intelligent, a skillful understanding. When these qualities are there, action must be very pure, very genuine, respectable, harmless. That is why it is called Kusala Kamma. Then he has pointed out what are the activities that which create to topple us. What are the activities that will support us to get up and go higher and higher? Papa Kamma, Kusala Kamma. Now let us recite this. Abhittaret kalyane Papa cittang nivaraye Dandang hi karoto punyam Papasmin ramati mano Abhittaret kalyane Papa cittang nivaraye Dandam hi karoto punyam Papasmin ramati mano. Make haste in doing good. Check your mind from evil. For the mind of him who is slow in doing meritorious action delights in evil. The nature of the mind. Mind can enjoy evil deeds, like to see certain bad things, like to hear certain bad things, but very lazy to see good things and very lazy to hear good news. Mind needs something that creates excitement. Then enjoy. Excitement. And this is the nature of the mind. The reason is, life after life, our mind had been enjoying more bad habits and bad deeds, bad thoughts, bad words. Very few good deeds, good thoughts and good action. Habit, nature. Now we recite 5 precepts. Actually, why it is necessary for us to recite them? If we are good, is it necessary for us to recite every day, every time? I try to keep away from killing, I try to keep away from stealing, all these things. If we are good, is it necessary for us to say, I try to keep away? That means we are committing. We are committing all these things. That is why we every time promise and promise and promise. Even then we break. This is our nature. So, it is not difficult to do good things, but very difficult not to do bad things because of our nature. Small children, when we observe them from their childhood, we can understand how they picked up bad things very easily. Bad words, bad habits, they pick up very easily. Not necessary to teach. Not necessary to go to school to learn all these things. But to teach them good things, we had to force them, send them to school, give them private tuition. Still, they cannot learn, many of them. It clearly shows the nature of our mind. Very easily, mind can get into a wrong track, but difficult to get into the correct path. Minds were misled, deluded. That is why the Buddha was reluctant at the beginning to preach, because the minds were deluded. People cannot understand. They are not used to this way of life. And some have become enemies because of his way of preaching. Some try to kill him. Some ridicule him, blame him. Because he is preaching something which never appealed to their mind. Truth is not always to please our mind. We try to find out the truth. When we realize the truth, we can understand this truth is not appealing to our mind. It is not that we wanted. Therefore, people are not ready to know the truth. They need some sort of their own imagination as truth. Now, this is the nature of our mind. Here, we must use our full effort to do good. Why it is necessary to use full effort? Because we are not used to do good things. But very easily we can do bad things. To avoid that, we have to train the mind by using full force to do good. To do good, we have to change our mental attitudes. We have to reduce our selfish ideas. We have to reduce our ignorance. We have to reduce our anger and jealousy. That is why it is difficult to do good. By reducing those evil forces, we have to cultivate, we have to develop compassion, understanding, harmony, and then we can do some good things. One of the Chinese philosophers has said, if sympathy and shame, these two things are not in the human mind, they are not real human beings. Because these are the important qualities, virtues, to maintain humane qualities. To develop our sympathy towards others, we have to train our mind, train and train and train, otherwise no sympathy. But in that word sympathy, how many good qualities are there? Again, shame. That mental attitude governs the whole mankind. Maintain human dignity. Uphold human values. Shame. When we think, as human beings, it is shameful for us to do this kind of wicked, cruel, immoral, dirty, vulgar things. So we develop shame. Because of this shame, we stop all the bad things. And then we can remain as real human beings. Shame and fear also. Fear means fear of wicked, evil, cruel things, harmful things. Scared to do these things. That is called moral fear. So if these qualities are no more in our human mind, whatever religion we practice, whatever religious label we have, we are not real human beings. The other living beings have natural way of life, not through their understanding, but using their instinctive power for their survival, for their enjoyment, for their protection. They cannot extend further their way of thinking, confined only to this, for their living, their pleasure and protection. As human beings, we can extend our sympathy, our unity, our harmony, our understanding, our cooperation, because these things are very important. When we live in a society or even at home among the family members, if there is no unity and harmony and sympathy and understanding among the family members, there is no happiness in that family. Life can become very miserable in such families. So, we were not born to this world to live individually. I do everything according to my own way of life, and you do everything according to your own way of life. But we are all living together in one family. No communication, relationship, goodwill, understanding. Meaningless. Such life is meaningless. Because there are many things that we can do for the benefit of others. Others also can do a lot of things for our own benefit, our protection, our welfare, our happiness. We also contribute something for their happiness, for their well-being. This is the nature of human life. So if we neglect all these things and create imagination, have all sort of belief as religious belief, no use. First thing we must learn how to live as human beings, whether you have a religion or not. Humanism, humane qualities. So if these qualities are not in our mind, I don't think we can practice any religion. Because religion teaches us go beyond this normal human way of life. Cultivate more. It is called sublime state, noble state, gone beyond the ordinary human level. That means extraordinary characteristic of the mental attitude we have to cultivate if we want to promote our human life. Now let us take these four sublime state qualities called Brahma Vihara. Brahma, this word, gives so many meanings. Here, the Brahma means sublime or noble. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekha. Four. These things have gone above our normal human way of life. What is metta? In English, we use the word compassionate love, selfless love. That means we extend our love without expecting anything in return. That is called selfless love, compassionate love. But it is very difficult for people to develop this kind of love. There is a saying, I love my love. My love loves me. Can you understand the meaning of this saying? It is Greek to you. I love my love. My love loves me. Is there anyone who can tell me the meaning of this saying? Come on. I love whom I love, whom I like. When I love that person, in return that person also love me. That is not his or her love, my love returned to me. Understand? Reflects. When we develop love toward one person, because of my love, that person also reflects love me. That is the meaning. This is the nature of metta. So when we develop this selfless love, compassionate love, that love reflects toward us, that support us, give us a lot of moral support, protection, guidance, and so many good results we experience. But selfish love creates a lot of clashes, conflict, misunderstanding, enmity, jealousy, anger, violence, bloodshed. That is the nature of selfish love. Husband and wife love each other. That is not compassionate love. That is selfish love. Because of that selfish nature of love, then jealousy, suspicions, anger, arguing, fighting, quarreling, enmity, divorce or murder case. See the nature of selfish love. So, we will go above normal human way of life when we develop selfless love. Love others without expecting anything in return, not even word of thanks. We don't want. Metta. Karuna, that is compassion. When others are suffering, when they need our services, help, we do something to release their sufferings and problems and fear and worries. That is called karuna. But even then, if they use that compassion with some sort of ulterior motive, they expect something in return. We have to do that without any ulterior motive. Compassion. Then what is the difference between compassionate love and karuna or compassion? Is there any difference? There is. We develop our love and compassion to everybody whether they need or not. You understand the point? We extend our compassion to everybody whether they need our compassion or not. But karuna, the compassion, we extend only to those who need our compassion. Now this is the difference. Now bodhisattvas who work to gain the enlightenment extend that compassion towards every living being without any discrimination, whether they need or not. Now this is the difference. And the third one, mudita. In English, we say sympathetic joy. But I don't think that word also gives real meaning. When others enjoy their life, whether they are our relatives or friends or outsiders, or whether they are belong to another race or another religion, without passing remarks, without criticizing, without condemning, we appreciate their way of life. we also enjoy their way of life without any discrimination, without showing any hostility. It is very difficult. Even our own relatives or friends, when they are doing very well, we cannot tolerate. We have to pass remarks, condemn, criticize, accuse, blame, ridicule. This is the nature of human life. So we have to train our mind not to adapt such hostility, hostile attitude towards others when they enjoy their life. Then we can avoid so many problems. That is called mudita. Usually our nature is such. We like to support and cooperate with our own race, not with other races. The follower of our own religion, but not others. If not color, our own color. But we are not ready to cooperate or appreciate with others. But one day we have to develop our mind up to that extent, not to show such discrimination. That is a mental hindrance for our spiritual development. Then the last one is upekha, equanimity, unbiased mental attitude. This is the most difficult thing. That is why the Buddha introduced this as the last item. To be unbiased is very difficult. We are always biased. Discrimination we try to show by bringing forward so many issues. You see, they are not belong to our race. They are not belong to our religion. They are not belong to our country. Again we divide. We are Asian. They are not Asian. They are European. Or East and West. East and Western. And their culture, their tradition, their way of life are entirely different. Not like ours. Then discrimination, differences. But we cannot look at or analyze unbiasedly, thinking. They have their own way of life. We have our own way of life. They have their own religious beliefs, and we have our own religious beliefs. So we should not ridicule or condemn or discriminate others, although they are not belong to our group. This is one of the biggest problems in this world that human beings are facing. And the trouble, violence, war, bloodshed, all these things take place because of this. Discrimination. Again, within one country, one race, they divide into different groups. Let us take India. They divide human beings into 4 groups. Kshatriya, Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra. They try to justify this by referring to God. Because there is a saying in Bhagavad Gita, like Dhammapada to Hindus. God says, Chatur Varnang Maya Drishtang Guna Karma Vibhagasa. We see, God mentioned that He has seen 4 Varna, 4 groups, divided into 4 groups, created by God. First group, Brahmin, were created by God from His mouth. That's why they are the masters, they are the teachers, they are the gurus, they are the educated people and the priests. Was created or come out from the God's mouth. Kshatriya, Khattiya, the Buddha was born in that group. They are the rulers, warriors who protect the country, rule the country. They were created by God on the shoulder to use energy, effort, muscles to fight, to protect the country and the nation. Then Vaishya, they were created from the stomach of God. They are the people who do business and trade and business and the development. You go and sit down somewhere, don't sit down under this trade fan. Look here. Listen. Sit down there. This fan is very bad for you. That's right. If you reach again, I give you a knock. Okay? So, Vaishya. Now, Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi was born in Vaishya. He was not Brahmin, he was not a Kshatriya, a ruler. Most of his Marathi, Gujaratis are business people. God created them to do business. Shudra, the low caste people, still remain in India, created from the feet of the God, very low. They were created by God to do all the laborers' work, the roadside, and building and carrying all rubbish, cleaning drains and lavatories, created by God. They introduced this as a religion. It is mentioned in their holy book, they say. What can we do? This is the way how they justify. The Buddha wanted to go against this. He said, he wanted to go against this saying, that Chatur Varnam Maya Drishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasa. The Buddha says no. Kammana vasalo hoti, kammana hoti brahmano. In Buddha saying, it is not by birth one become either high class or low caste. According to his or her or action, what kind of good work or dirty work they do. So high class and low caste, we divide in this way. Not by birth, just because that so and so was born in that particular family, he cannot become a low caste person. The Buddha says. But people did not give up their belief. Kammana vattate loko, kammana vattate pada. Action. Our action, our karma, support to maintain the whole world. The world exists because of our mental action, physical action. So karma is responsible, not God. But people are not ready to listen. Then what about China? They have no caste system, but they have class system. Also divided into, 4 or 5 groups. 4. To them, teachers, masters, gurus belong to first class. Then come farmers, isn't it? I think so. Then soldiers and those who become monks, renounce the world, the lowest caste, because they are useless people. Those who join in the army, no hope, bone case. Those who renounce the world, family life, also no hope. That's the Chinese mentality. That's why Chinese are not willing to allow their children to renounce the world life. See, in any part of the world, in every country, you can see this kind of differences, discrimination. Now that you are human beings, same feeling, same pleasure, sufferings and worries and enjoyments, the feelings are the same. Our caste or color or religion cannot change this common feeling. But people are not ready to listen. But still they maintain. Especially when they come to practice religion. Buddha has given this warning not to show any discrimination to other races or those who are not belong to your group, your color, your race, your country. You have to ignore completely this discrimination. Regard all of them as human beings. And then, without controversy, without jealousy, without argument, without hatred, they can carry on their religious activity. The very moment when you show your superiority complex, your hostility, your egoism, then trouble starts. No religion there. Because the mind is boiling with evil thought, jealousy, hostility, discrimination. No unity and harmony. So these are the things we had to cultivate earlier as human beings before we go further and further. We are dreaming to go to heaven and enjoy our life, not knowing what this heaven is, and where it is, or how it look like. Just create your own imagination. According to the Buddha, he said, it is not necessary for you to wait until you die to enjoy heavenly bliss. If you know how to handle this human life, you can enjoy heavenly bliss here in this world. Peace, happiness, satisfaction, protection, precaution, all are there. If you know how to behave, handle your human life. But no one can gain this because of these discriminations. So, why the Buddha had to give this advice? Abhittareta kalyanam papa chittam nivane. Since papa ideas, evil ideas, wrong ideas easily appear in our mind. Not necessary to think very deeply to create bad ideas. Just like lightning, evil thoughts appear. Now anger, jealousy or grudge or ill will, just like lightning, at once appear in the mind. But kindness, compassion and patience, people too commit evil, bad things. Then they get into trouble. They fall down. Fall down means those who are human beings won't get the chance to be born as human beings again because they abuse human life. So we must know how to maintain our human dignity by behaving as human beings. Whether you have a religion or not, it is immaterial. You must know how to appreciate human life without abusing or misusing. Then you can develop further by following the advices given by the Buddha. Just now I mentioned only 4 items. Sublime, noble state, which go beyond our normal way of worldly life. Because very, very rare for us to see such people who have cultivated their mind up to that extent. There must be some sort of loopholes, dark corners, weaknesses in their mind. After that we have to develop further and further in our spiritual journey. So, religious way of life start by cultivating human life. By neglecting our humane qualities and virtues, duties and responsibilities, we cannot go beyond to be religious. How can we practice more religious principle if we cannot learn as real human beings? There are some people in this world who are not belong to any religion. They never claim any religion. They never talk anything about God or heaven or hell or karma or rebirth, nothing. But they know how to appreciate human life, humane qualities and virtues. They too have kindness, compassion, sympathy, patience, tolerance, unity, harmony, all the good qualities also we can find amongst those who have no religion. So, from the Buddhist point of view, they are religious people, although they have no religious label. Label is not material, not important. In fact, the Buddha did not want to introduce Buddhism or religion. He started his mission by telling his disciples, go out and tell people what are the good things, what are the bad things. What are the things which create sufferings and worries and disturbances? What are the things that pave the way for them to be happy, for their prosperous and peaceful life. Because many people are in the dark, go and tell them. That was his mission. He never mentioned anything about conversion or religion or bring them into this way of life. He never mentioned. Advise people how to live as gentlemen, real human beings, without violating, disturbing others. That is what he wanted. He never asked people to come and pray and worship him, but we like to worship him because we know how to appreciate his noble teaching. He says, when you see the Dhamma taught by me, through this Dhamma you can see the real Buddha there. Not a physical body as the Buddha. That means you must know how to uphold the Dharma, the advices given by them. So today you have learned the difference between Papa Karma and Kusala Karma. Our thoughts, our words, our action. If we misuse them, they become Papa Karma, which create enormous problems and troubles and disturbances and topple us. If we use the other way, the Kusala Karma, by thinking, by knowing, through understanding, skillfully, intelligent way, wisely, then you get into the correct path, then you can complete your journey in this wheel of existence without facing so many problems and troubles and worries and disturbances. That is what we are preparing. Because we have to continue this journey until we qualify, until we become perfect. Then we can see the final goal, the aim of our life. That is why we need this kind of noble advices for us to understand and to practice. Yes, we have a few more minutes. Any questions? You never ask questions yet.
What's the difference between Papa Karma and Akusala?
Oh yes. Good. Just now I mentioned Kusala. So you have learned the meaning of Kusala. Akusala is the opposite of that. They belong to immoral, wicked, harmful, dangerous activities. Akusala. Papa means certain mistake, certain bad deeds that we do, although they are not very dangerous. Because of these mistakes, because of this stupid mental attitude, we make certain mistakes which create for us to fall down, get into the unfortunate state. So, Akusala is higher than Papa. Papa means fall down. Akusala means which create immediate bad effect for us to suffer. We may fall down from our state. Today we maintain this status. But Papa Karma force us to fall down. from that status. But akusala karma create very bad effect for us to suffer. Now this is the difference. Okay.
After listening to the Dhamma talk for a couple of months, the thought has occurred to me that human condition is more or less deteriorated. Many years ago, when we were young, our medicine deep enough, that although science has progressed deep enough, the spiritual condition of humankind remains. I don't remember what to say, but it was not very favorable. So I'm wondering whether since then, any assessment has been made to the human condition. Now, my own observations perhaps confirm quite a lot of what they have said, that we have not been able, despite the fact that I understand that this game, this world, is not only a game of beginning, but also a game of effort. Compared with the other games to which we go and to which we come. And in fact, our stay there is longer than we have. And so, our stay in this game is in fact an opportunity for us to improve our thought. But in listening to your talk, I get the impression that what many of us have utilized that. In fact, as a whole, it appears to me that we are improving it. So I would like to remember my mind on this to see whether my observation is correct. And if so, how we can go about it and what steps actually the world has been taking to change the way we act so that we do not approach what some religions have prophesied as the end time. And here too, I would like to also inspire the way. I think Reverend trying to be a somebody to tell us what religion is said about this so-called opposition time.
Very big observation. Science and technology is and modern subjects, worldly knowledge, even philosophy and psychology, experience about worldly life and the universe and space. And first time man has landed on the moon. But none of these discoveries, activities can support to train, to tame the human mind. One scholar has said, science without religion is blind. Religion without science, crippled. You understand? But when blind and crippled join together, they can walk. Blind man jumped with the crippled man's shoulder. And, no, sorry, the other way around. Crippled man jumped into the shoulder of the blind man, then the crippled man can guide and the blind man can walk. So science without religious way of life, blind. No spiritual development, no mental training, develop more crazy mental attitude to become more worldly minded people. But religion on the other hand, confined to belief, dogmas, superstitious ideas and spiritual development. These things are very boring to our human mind. Therefore, we need the scientific support to push these people, and then they become active. That is why they say science and religion must join together, otherwise both are in trouble. So science can destroy the whole world. Religions also can destroy the whole world by introducing dogmas, superstitious ideas, fanatical ideas, creating discrimination, hatred, jealousy. Religion also can do the same thing. So both must be guided properly. So many more things they will discover in time to come, but none of them contribute anything to train the human mind, to discipline the human mind. The more they learn, the more they discover, more they become selfish and more they develop their jealousy, increase their craving, and no sympathy, no compassion, all the good qualities is no more. So that is what the Buddha's advice is: don't develop your worldly knowledge by neglecting the spiritual development. You get into trouble. When you develop your spiritual way of life, don't neglect your worldly life, moderate way of life. For your food, your clothing, your shelter, your medicine, your requisite, don't neglect them also. And then you can balance equally. Otherwise you become slaves to worldly things, then no spiritual development. That's why the Buddha's teaching is called middle path, not to go to any extreme. Yes, anything else? What is your question? I am going to give a knock today. Come here. What is your question? How to get rid of it? Yes. Do you know what is a question? When the mind becomes restlessness, what to do and how to get rid of that restlessness? Because just now I noticed he was restless. His legs also go up like this. So he want to know how to control it. For you to control that, I think the Rotan is the best thing. Only for you, but not for others. What is restlessness? Can you tell me what is restlessness? What is it? Come. He has secret doctrine. What is restlessness? Right. He says restlessness means tiredness of the mind. Cannot sleep, cannot relax. Right? That is restlessness. I have told you why we experience this restlessness. Two reasons. First thing, certain bad things that we have committed in early part of our life, which were submerged in the subconscious mind, influence. Then the restlessness appears in the mind. If not, certain bad karmas we have committed during our previous birth, the karmic seed which were deposited in the subconscious mind, when there are no more mental activities in the mind, these karmic forces influence. And then we experience restlessness. 5 kinds of mental hindrances. Kama, Chanda, Vyapada, Tena, Mitta, Uddhacha, Kukkucha, Vichikicca. Uddhacha means restlessness. We have restlessness, but we do not know why. We cannot give any reason. Just now I told you, those hidden, what we call memory, that submerge in the subconscious mind occasionally reflect. Then we get uneasiness in our mind. That is called restlessness. If not, certain karmic force, certain dreams also appear when we sleep, influenced by certain karma, good karma as well as bad karma. Because subconscious mind can influence very easily when the mind is free from the five mental, what you call, senses. Many people get some information, some medicine, very important information while sleeping in dreams. That is due to their own karmic force, either good one or bad one. So the restlessness always appears. In your case, I think the cause of your restlessness is when you could not gain what you wanted, then you will have restlessness in your mind. That is your problem. Okay? Buddhism is? No. So? Why you non-Buddhist? We Buddhists also say that. Yes, it is. But it is not an ordinary way of life. It is a noble way of life. It is a respectable way of life. It is a harmless way of life. It is a meaningful way of life. But not a religion in that sense. Westerners analyze this very clearly. It is a way of life. Noble way of life, independent, without depending on external sources or forces, by developing, cultivating our understanding, our mind, our wisdom. It is a way of life. Anything else? Yes, 9:30.
เขาต้องทำงานอยู่เสมอในเมื่อร่างกายเขาต้องการอาหารนี่อร่อยไม่อร่อยนี่ต้องรู้อร่อยมากอร่อยน้อยก็ต้องรู้ถ้าหากว่าธาตุร่างกายเขาไม่ต้องการอาหารนี่ไม่ต้องการแล้วนี่อร่อยขนาดไหนคำว่าอร่อยไม่มีจะใส่ในปากพยายามว่าอร่อยอร่อยสักขนาดไหนมันก็อร่อยอย่างตื่นยากถ้าหากว่าเราฉันจังหันอย่างนั้นนี่มันไม่ใช่แล้วก็ธาตุขันธ์ที่เรียกความไม่อร่อยเกิดจากธาตุขันธ์ไม่ต้องการอันนั้นไม่เป็นข้อปฏิบัติอันนั้นเป็นเรื่องของธาตุขันธ์เท่านั้นไม่เป็นเรื่องของข้อปฏิบัติเรื่องของข้อปฏิบัตินี่ธาตุขันธ์เขาอร่อยธาตุขันธ์เขาเป็นปกติเขาต้องการอาหารเขาอร่อยในการที่เขาได้สัมผัสแต่เราใช้ความจริงของอาหารที่เราบริโภคกันละมาพิจารณาให้เข้าถึงความจริงในเมื่อทราบเข้าถึงและทราบชัดความจริงของอาหารนั้นแล้วนั้นไอ้ความอร่อยถึงจะมีไม่ใช่บ่มีความอร่อยมีอยู่แต่ทีนี้ใครการจะอร่อยขนาดไหนก็ช่างเถอะเราก็ฉันเฉพาะที่ร่างกายของเราต้องการเท่านั้นไม่ใช่อร่อยก็ใช่ฉันมากไม่ใช่แล้วมันอร่อยก็จะไม่ฉันไปเลยอย่างนั้นไอ้อย่างนั้นเรียกว่าเราฉันดูอยู่ด้วยอำนาจของความอยากให้เข้าใจจุดที่พูดนี่มันอาจจะยาวไปให้เข้าใจจุดควรที่จะบอกหรือแปลให้มันเข้าใจจุดความหมายควรให้ตรงไหนควรที่จะเข้าใจสรุปแล้วอร่อยเป็นธรรมดานี่การที่เราจะมุ่งเพื่อให้การปฏิบัติของเราก้าวหน้านี่เราต้องพิจารณาอาหารที่อร่อยหรือไม่อร่อยนั่นให้ชัดตามความเป็นจริงเสมอ อาหารที่อร่อยหรือไม่อร่อยล้วนแต่เป็นปฏิกูลทั้งนั้นไม่ใช่เป็นอร่อยเฉพาะอาหารที่ไม่ใช่ปฏิกูลเพราะอาหารที่อร่อยหรือไม่เป็นปฏิกูลเพราะอาหารที่ไม่อร่อยอาหารที่ไม่อร่อยหรือไม่อร่อยอันนั้นเป็นปฏิกูลทั้งนั้นในเมื่อความจริงของเขาเป็นอย่างนั้นเพราะอร่อยเขาก็ไม่ละว่าเขาอร่อยเขาก็ไม่รู้ไม่อร่อยเขาก็ไม่รู้ผลไม้เขาไม่รู้ว่าเขาเปรี้ยวไม่รู้ว่าเขาหวานไม่รู้ว่าเขาเปรี้ยวมากไม่รู้เขาหวานมากไม่รู้เขาไม่รู้อะไรเลยแล้วเขาจะรู้ว่าอร่อยได้ยังไงอร่อยหรือไม่อร่อยนี่อยู่กับลิ้นที่มีการสัมผัสและมันจะเกิดความรู้สึกขึ้นโดยไม่ตั้งใจให้เป็นอร่อยนี่เราว่าอร่อยในเมื่อลิ้นเราสัมผัสอร่อยนี่มันจะต้องว่าอร่อยขึ้นทันทีว่าไม่อร่อยอันนี้มันเป็นการขัดเป็นการฝืนกับความจริงถ้าหากว่าจะไม่ให้ขัดไม่ให้ฝืนกับความจริงนั่นเราพิจารณาให้เป็นปฏิกูลอาหารนี่เขาไม่รู้เรื่องอะไรเลยเขาอร่อยเขาก็ไม่รู้เขาไม่อร่อยเขาก็ไม่รู้เขาไม่รู้จริงกระทั่งเขาเป็นอาหารเขาชื่อเสียงเป็นยังไงเขาก็ไม่รู้เขาเป็นอะไรเขาก็ไม่รู้แต่ว่าเขาเป็นของเกิดขึ้นมาก็เปลี่ยนแปลงไปพอที่จะเป็นต้นขึ้นมาเอามาเป็นอาหารเขาก็ไม่รู้พอที่จะเป็นดอกขึ้นมาเอามาเป็นอาหารเขาก็ไม่รู้พอที่จะเป็นลูกนี่อ่อนเขาก็ได้เอามาเป็นอาหารพอที่จะเป็นลูกสุกเขาเอามาเป็นอาหารเขาก็ไม่รู้เขาไม่รู้เรื่องอะไรเขาไม่รู้ว่าเขาเป็นอะไรแม้แต่เขาเกิดมาเปลี่ยนแปลงและสลายตัวเขาก็ไม่รู้อะไรในโลกทั้งหมดนี้ไม่มีอะไรที่จะรู้สักอย่างเพียงแต่ว่าเป็นของเป็นในสิ่งที่เป็นวัตถุแล้วนี่ไม่มีอะไรที่จะรู้เราจะว่าเขาเป็นอย่างนั้นว่าจะเป็นนั่นเรื่องของเราไปว่าเขาต่างหากจะเราถึงว่าผมขนได้ปันหนังสรีระร่างกายความคิดอันนี้เขารู้ไหมว่าเขาเป็นความคิดอันนี้เขาก็ไม่รู้ความคิดอันนี้เป็นคนหรือความคิดอันนี้เป็นตัวเป็นตนเป็นเราหรือเขาก็ไม่ได้ว่าเขาไม่ได้ว่าเขาเป็นอะไรสิ่งที่เกิดมาทั้งหมดเขาเกิดมาเพื่อความสลายตัวทั้งนั้นเราศึกษาข้อความจริงของเขาทั้งทันในให้ชัดถ้าหากว่าเราไม่ได้ความจริงที่ของที่เกิดขึ้นมาสลายตัวเรายังไม่ชัดแล้วเราจะต้องรู้คำอยู่อย่างนี้ตลอดไปเดี๋ยวนี้ไม่ใช่ในปิ้งไก่แล้วเหรอฮะ
Isn't it now you are starting to eat fried chicken? Isn't now you are starting to eat fried chicken maybe? Fried chicken.
ไปฮะกินหรือยัง
Are you started to eat?
ไม่ใช่เห็นว่ามีหอมีอะไรอยู่นี่เอาหรือเปล่า
เฉพาะวันนั้นวันพระ
อาหารทั้งหมดเป็นของปฏิกูลทั้งนั้นอาหารทั้งหมดร่างกายของเราต้องการอร่อยทั้งนั้น
asking that people will eating that day. Maybe the day only one shot. Only that day one shot.
อาหารทั้งหมดถ้าร่างกายของเราไม่ต้องการไม่อร่อยสักอย่างสั่งมาจากโรงแรมโต๊ะละพันโต๊ะละหมื่นก็อยากเอามาใกล้เหม็นนั่นเวลาร่างกายไม่ต้องการมันเหม็นจริงๆด้วยกินเข้ามาไก่มันจะอาจกินให้ผลนั่นร่างกายเขาไม่ต้องการเวลาเขาต้องการไม่ใช่เราจะกินให้มันมากกินพอดีโภชเนมัตตัญญูตาเข้าใจไหมโภชเนมัตตัญญูตาคือยังไงกินให้พอดีกับความต้องการของร่างกายนี่กระทั่งอัดแม่นเปี้ยอย่างนั้นก็ไม่ถูกเนลลี่เห็นไหมล่ะน้ำหวาน2 ขวดตึ๊กโหลดเดียวนั่นแหละแต่เวลาร่างกายเขามีความต้องการไม่เป็นไรร่างกายไม่ต้องการไม่ได้กินกับไปดินดีปากเลยท่านอุปมาเอาไว้2 สามีภรรยาเดินทางธุรกันดารลูกไปฆ่าลูกเป็นอาหารเอาลูกเป็นอาหาร เอาลูกมาทำเป็นอาหารแล้วกินมันจะกินอย่างสนิทใจไหมแต่ก็ต้องกินเพราะมีความจำเป็นอย่างยิ่งที่จะต้องไปถึงจุดหมายปลายทางนั้นกินเพราะใครๆกับพอเดินไปได้เราทาบริโภคอาหารมุ่งปฏิบัติธรรมเพื่อความหลุดพ้นก็เหมือนกันพอชีวิตเป็นไปได้พอชีวิตทรงอยู่ได้อันนี้พอดีขนาดนี้พอดีแล้วเดี๋ยวนี้เราจะกังวลเรื่องอาหารมากๆทีเดียวชอบพูดเรื่องอาหารดีกว่ากังวลกับของปฏิกูลตกกังวลกับของกินก็แล้วไปที่กังวลใจกับของที่กินไปแล้วไปเป็นอุจจาระเรื่องกิเลสมันสกปรกจริงไหมของสกปรกมากเท่าไหร่กิเลสมันยิ่งชอบเพราะกิเลสมันเป็นของสกปรกเห็นไหมล่ะของสกปรกขนาดไหนมันยิ่งชอบสกปรกมันไม่จะไปอยู่ตรงไหนนะมันทำให้เปื้อนเลยนะอยู่ตามวัดก็เปื้อนก็ผ้าดำก็เปื้อนอยู่กับผ้าขาวก็เปื้อนอยู่กับผ้าเหลืองของนักบวชนุ่งห่มผ้าเหลืองนักบวชนุ่งห่มนั่นก็เปื้อนของสกปรกทั้งนั้นกิเลสอยู่ในจิตใจดวงใดนะจิตใจดวงนั้นไม่เปื้อนไม่มีจิตใจดวงใดมีของสกปรกคือกิเลสจิตใจดวงนั้นจะไม่สกปรกไม่มี
If you know that you lose everything to the defilement, and you know that you lose to the defilement, means you are the one to win. Because you know that you lose to the defilement. You understand? Means you are a winner.
So also if I give up, I know I give up to the defilement, do I win or not?
แต่ถ้าว่า
คือว่าคำว่าชนะนี่
มันไม่รู้กี่สิบตั้งกากละ
คนแพ้ทั้งหลาย ไม่รู้จักว่าเจ้าของเป็นคนแพ้คนผิดทั้งหลายไม่รู้ว่าเจ้าของผิดคนผิดทั้งหลายรู้ว่าเจ้าของผิดคนนั้นคือคนรู้พอรู้ว่าเจ้าของเป็นคนผิดคนที่ผิดน่ะเขาไม่รู้ว่าเขาทำผิดนะเขาคิดว่าเขาทำถูกคนทั้งหลายว่าเขาทำผิดแต่เขาก็ไม่ยอมรับเขาก็ทำที่เขาเห็นว่าถูกนั่นน่ะทำเรื่อยๆไปแต่เห็นที่ว่าถูกนั่นก็คือเขาผิดนั่นแหละคนลักษณะนี้คือคนแพ้ในที่นี้หมายถึงว่าผิดไม่รู้จักว่าผิดเลี้ยวบนเข้าไปนี่ไม่ใช่งามนี่ในเมื่อแพ้แล้วรู้จักว่าเจ้าของแพ้นี่แหละคนชนะ
like you understand? It says like most of the people, whatever they do, when they do it, then they think that's right. Whether they do it wrong or right, they will like agree with their own opinion all the way. So people may say they're right, people may say they're wrong, but they always like think that they're right. This kind of people are losers. If a person knows that he's wrong, he knows that himself is wrong, and he sees that he's wrong, then this kind of people is a winner. Winner means he knows that his own fault, he knows that he's only.
So if the technique the next and like completely there's nothing to hold anymore, just defilement, nothing to hold anymore. So they just leave it aside, no, it's wrong, and just give up and
Probably means that nothing
no refuge, no dhamma, just kilesa, you know, everything is against you, against what you developed, against, you did a lot of reflection and everything turned around and is suddenly against you. You try to choose and to chase somebody, but suddenly you are the one who gets chased. Should I just give up knowing it's wrong?
ถ้าว่าลักษณะแบบนี้เราว่าตรงไปมีลักษณะนี้เกิดขึ้นอีก
ควรจะทำยังไง
ควรจะทำยังไงหรือว่าถ้าได้ว่าถ้ากันกิเลสมันเต็มแล้วแล้วก็ไม่มีการเอาธรรมเข้าไปเป็นผู้ชนะกิเลสมันก็ต้องได้ว่าก็ต้องยอมกิเลสหรือว่าปล่อยทันที
คำว่ายอมกิเลสแล้วปล่อยทันทียังไม่เข้าใจยอมกิเลสคือยังไงปล่อยทันทีคือยังไงที่พูดนี่เข้าใจการปฏิบัติธรรมเหมือนกับการเดินทางในทางที่ไม่เคยไปมันจะต้องมีทั้งสบายใจและมีทั้งไม่สบายใจมีทั้งความสุขและมีทั้งความทุกข์ด้วยและมีทั้งความยากลำบากอย่างมากๆเป็นบางครั้งบางระยะและก็มีทั้งที่เรียกว่าสะดวกสบายเป็นบางครั้งเป็นบางระยะบางขั้นตอนการเดินทางไกลหนทางที่ไม่เคยไปจะต้องเป็นอย่างนี้การปฏิบัติธรรมก็เหมือนกันบางทีมันก็แสดงว่าราบรื่นปลอดโปร่งมองเห็นช่องทางที่จะเดินไปได้อย่างราบรื่นบางทีมันก็มืดมนมืดมิดมืดมนอุทการไปหมดมองไม่เห็นช่องทางมองไม่เห็นทางไปทางมาในเมื่อเป็นอย่างนี้ทำอย่างไรมองเข้ามาหาธรรมะธรรมะคือกายธรรมะคือจิตผมเขาไม่ได้ว่าเห็นเขาไม่เคยว่าเขาเจริญเขาไม่เคยว่าเขาเสื่อมขนเล็บฟันหนังเขาว่าเจริญไหมเขาว่าเขาจะเคยเจริญสักทีไหมเขาเคยว่าเขาเสื่อมสักทีไหมอวัยวะทั้งหมดในร่างกายนี่เขาอยู่เหมือนเดิมเดี๋ยวนี้เราว่าเขาเสื่อมตรงไหนอะไรเสื่อมมองตั้งแต่ศีรษะไปหาเท้าขึ้นมาหาศีรษะยังเป็นปกติอยู่ไม่มีอะไรสูญเสียไปไหนยังมีเท่าเก่ายังมีเท่าเดิมยังมีเท่ากับสมัยที่เราว่าเราปฏิบัติก้าวหน้านั้นอะไรมันก้าวไปผมก้าวไปตรงไหนขนก้าวไปตรงไหนเล็บก้าวไปตรงไหนฟันก้าวไปตรงไหนหนังก้าวไปตรงไหนหนังผมขนเล็บฟันหนังก็อยู่ที่เดิมหันเข้ามาดูจิตสะท้อนเข้ามาดูจิตทวนเข้ามาดูจิตเขาเจริญยังไงเขาเสื่อมยังไงเราจะไปมองอะไรมองเฉพาะจิตของเราอันเดียวจิตเขาก็ไม่เคยว่าเจริญไม่เคยว่าก้าวหน้าและไม่เคยเดี๋ยวนี้เขาก็ไม่ได้ว่าเขาถอยหลังเขาก็ยังทรงความเป็นจิตอยู่อย่างนั้นคือยังมีความรู้อยู่เหมือนเดิมตั้งในแต่ไหนแต่ไรเขาก็มีความรู้อยู่อย่างนี้แล้วเราจะไปว่าเขาเสื่อมอย่างไรมันในเมื่อมันเสื่อมก็หาจุดเสื่อม หาอะไรหาว่าอะไรเสื่อมในเมื่อเราหาจุดเสื่อมหาให้รู้จักว่าตรงจุดไหนมันเสื่อมอะไรมันเสื่อมหาลงไปแล้วไม่มีอะไรเสื่อมและไม่มีอะไรเจริญด้วยทุกสิ่งทุกอย่างเป็นธรรมดาทุกสิ่งทุกอย่างเป็นธรรมดาเป็นธรรมชาติของเขาทั้งนั้นไอ้ที่ว่าเจริญที่ว่าเสื่อมมันเรื่องสังขารมันเรื่องความคิดของเราอาศัยเหตุปัจจัยภายนอกก็ว่าเจริญบ้างว่าเสื่อมบ้างอันนี้ให้ตัดออกสังขารทั้งหลายมันขึ้นมันลงสังขารทั้งหลายมันกลับกอกหลอกลวงเราอยู่เสมอเราอย่าไปรับฟังแต่คำหลอกลวงของสังขารเราต้องรับฟังสัจธรรมของจริงอยู่เสมอและใจของเราจึงจะสม่ำเสมอไม่ลุ่มๆดอนๆต่อไปแปลไปไม่เข้าใจเหรอ
ไม่ใช่ตลอดเข้าใจไหม
มาไม่ใช่หมดเลยครับไม่ใช่หมดเลยแต่ว่าบางส่วนเข้าใจ
นายเข้าใจใช่ไหม
อันนี้แค่นั้น
ไม่เข้าใจตลอดเข้าใจ
ว่าไปต้องไม่เข้าใจว่าไป
Our practice is just like we go on a long road, a long path. Maybe on our long way journey, we may sometimes be happy or be sad, be comfortable and not comfortable. And we may have a lot of suffering, and we may not have suffering at all. But this suffering, sometimes it occurs just for a certain moment, and that's it. And that kind of happiness, it may just occur on a certain moment because the place that we are going we have not been before, so things tends to appear like all these things. Practice is also the same. Sometimes we may come to the point that we are certain, confident this one, but sometimes it is like we are totally black out, do not know anywhere to go. Then he said, he knows what you are saying. And he said, if these things were to occur next time, look into your body and into your mind. Kaya is the body. He said, when you look into the body, how should you look at it? Look at the hair. Is the hair advanced? Or is the hair going backward? And look at the teeth, the eye, and all the body from the head down to the bottom and the bottom part of it. Look at it. Is there any part that going advanced or any part going backward? Then you will see it still remains the same. There is no part that is going advanced and there is no part that is going backward. And if you go look inside your chitta, look into only the chitta and ask the chitta, is the chitta going advanced or is the chitta going backward? The chitta also does not know himself is going advanced or he does not know himself going backward. Because the chitta is something that only knows things when it comes to content. Wherever the chitta is, you will know things. So now ask yourself, who is advanced and who is backward? It is only your sankhara, Thai sankhara, that is going front and back, making you thinking that now you are confident with everything. And sometimes the sankhara make you have no way, you are totally out. And then he does not want you anymore to fall the sankhara. If you look only at the body and the mind and the chitta, then you're always safe. Because it is always natural and according to the truth. Yeah.
ลุยเรื่อยไปนะบุกเรื่อยไปพ อยหลังอย่าให้มันมี
go all the way, go into backwards. Toilet retreat ตรงนั้น